little lunch, put a fire in the fireplace, and just settle in with an adult beverage and watch the first game, the 49ers and the Eagles. The second game, the Chiefs and the Bengals. I have picks. I'm going to give them right now. First, I'm going to give my picks, the picks from my friend Andrew Price. So I went to UCP, United Cerebral Palsy. Great, great people. I've been friends with Andrew for, gosh, I don't know, Andrew, how long has it been? 12 years. He's a KMOX listener. He's our number one KMOX listener, I would say. He's listening right now. Andrew's an amazing young man, although you're not a young man anymore, Andrew. You're a big boy now, buddy. You're rolling with the big boys here, and uh I hate to say it, but I went against him. So we picked against each other, and I went over to UCP on Thursday, and he greeted me, and on his wheelchair was a sheet of paper with the two games, and I knew what that meant. It's time for us to pick, and I let him pick first, and he went 49ers and he went Chiefs. I knew he was going to go Chiefs. I just knew it. And so I'm going Oppo here. I'm going Eagles, and I like the Bengals today. And you know what, Andrew? I love you. I love you like a brother, but I love my picks here. I like the Eagles in this game this afternoon. I think they're hot as can be. I'm going with the hot hand both times. I think 49ers are solid. I mean, don't get me wrong. That's a great, great football team over there. This is a different animal. This team's better than the Cowboys. I like this Eagles team. Now, I will admit, I picked wrong. I mean, my Super Bowl was Bills Cowboys, and what I saw the 49ers, how they were able to keep the Cowboys at bay, tells me something about their defense. The Bills disappointed me, but look, it's been, a great season for them and a lot of stories, a lot of tough times, a lot of overcoming. But that Bengals team was phenomenal last week, just phenomenal. And I think they're going to come in all iced out, wearing their all whites again, and they're going to beat the Chiefs at Arrowhead. And, the Chiefs fans are all fired up. I know that the tailgates are going, and that crowd will be loud and fun, and it always is. But they're also very nervous. If you ask a Chiefs fan straight up, they know. They know this is a tough, tough, tough opponent in Cincinnati. Joe Burrow runs a great offense. He has no fear whatsoever. He'll play in any condition. It doesn't matter. They throw the ball well. Joe Mixon runs the ball extremely well. And the offensive line, unbelievable. I mean, just, I saw the offensive line coach, that clip where he said, you gave everybody a big collective F you. And I said, I think it's time to name the Bengals offensive line the big collective. They're going to come out and they are going to win this football game today. And that offensive line is the one that inspired them all. And I think they'll play great. Now, the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, I know that part of this and part of my reason for this is the fact that he is banged up, that he has a high ankle sprain, and I think he'll be really good. I just don't know if they can do enough to beat this Bengals team. The best thing the Chiefs can do is go with a shorter passing game. Maybe he can fling a few and get open, but get himself free to fire a few. And he may have some time, but he's not going to be the same Mahomes. And how do they account for that? It's, he's had a week now, that thing's swelling. It concerns me big time. Travis Kelce has back spasms. He had some treatment Friday, Saturday. He's good to go, but man, you absolutely need him. And you got to have a good running. There's just too many things that have to go right for the Chiefs to beat the Bengals. And the Bengals, I don't see a lot of weakness except for the offensive line, and they showed me that they can handle it quite well. So I like the Bengals in that game, and I like the Eagles in the first game. I'm sorry, Andrew, but we'll see. Now, we have a bet on the line, so I don't know. It's we have to give each other something. So if I win this, he's got to give me something. If he wins it, I give him a prize. If we tie, it carries over to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
So, Andrew, it's on, buddy. Let's see what happens here in this AFC NFC Championship day. Great, great day. College basketball, what a day yesterday for the University of Missouri. The Tigers basketball program is rolling right now, and they've had some tough losses. I mean, they got flattened by Alabama. They didn't have Kobe Brown, though, in that game, and that's a big factor. Kobe Brown had 20 points, and Mizzou smoked Iowa State by a final of 78-61. And let me tell you, Iowa State is really good. I mean, that team is no pushover whatsoever. Anybody. I mean, they can beat anybody in the country. They are ranked 12th in the nation, but they might be even better than that. I mean, that is a legitimate Elite Eight contender, and Missouri made them look like chopped liver. I mean, they carved them up. 78-61, the final in that one. You had Kobe Brown going 6 for 9 from the floor, made all of his free throws, all 7 of them, had 20 points, but he also had 12 boards. They were so strong on the glass. Sean East had 4 assists in the game. This Missouri team got out rebounded in the game, but they made things count when they had to. They didn't turn the ball over. That Iowa State team is big and strong and physical, and Missouri just rotates these experienced, quick, good shooters. They also have some size, but they just have really good guards that know how to get open and knock down shots. And they held their own against Iowa State and won the game 78-61. I thought that was really impressive what the Tigers did yesterday in front of a raucous crowd. Dennis Gates has it going now. He got everybody enthused. He said, please come out. You got to support us. Come out, come out, come out. And then he gave them something. He's given them a great product. And so he's lived up to what he said. Now, they've won 3 of 4 after that tough stretch where they got beat by A&M in Florida. And again, the loss to Alabama. But Alabama's great. I know Alabama got destroyed by the Sooners yesterday, but they're still the number 2 team in the nation for another day. They're going to be a top 10 team. They're going to be tough to deal with in the NCAA tournament. That's not a terrible loss. Beating Arkansas at home was very important. Going on the road and beating Ole Miss by 12 was very important, but this one's the win. Now you beat another ranked team. That's 4 ranked teams Missouri has beaten, and now Missouri is a legitimate threat in the NCAA tournament, just depending on how they're seeded. They could get a bad matchup, but if they get a favorable matchup, you just never know. They could make a run. If you look at their schedule right now, and they've got LSU at Mississippi State, South Carolina, before they play at Tennessee, which will be another big measuring stick for them and an opportunity to score a huge win. This all helps in seeding for the tournament. They're going to get in the tournament. I mean, if they continue to fly like they are near the top half of the SEC, they're going to be just fine. Iowa State, I'll remind you, beat K-State, one of the best teams in the country, beat Texas like a drum. They've won some big games this year. They lost at Allen Fieldhouse by just 2 points. Now they get hammered by Missouri by 17. And that is no fluke. That's a good Missouri team right now that people are dealing with, and they're coming together just at the right time. SLU is on a 6-game winning streak. We're going to talk to Travis Ford coming up here at 10:30. He'll join us live. His team won on Friday, beating Davidson. They will play at Fordham, and then they get the huge game Friday night against VCU. I mean, you want to pack that place. You want that to be a crowd that won't let VCU leave without hearing them through the night, like ringing in their ears, nightmare type crowd. That's what you want if you're SLU. You want to establish that you are the team in the Atlantic 10. So these two teams are fighting at the top of the league, and that is going to be a fun night on Friday night at Chaifetz Arena. If you don't have a ticket for that, I would get it now if they're not sold out already. Illinois is very good. They beat Wisconsin on the road 61-51. Matthew Meyer, what a talent he is. He had 26 points, also played some good defense. Illini held Wisconsin to 33% shooting, and they won the game 61-51. Bit of a slugfest, but that's always the case against Wisconsin. They slow the game down. You just do what you have to do to win the game, and they really pushed Wisconsin around, and they won that game, out-rebounded the Badgers, did what they had to do as well to pick up a victory, 61-51 on the road. Looking at the OVC, team to keep an eye on is Southeast Missouri State. Now, they won 79-68 over Eastern Illinois. They kind of flew under the radar. SIUE got a lot of attention because they beat SLU. But Southeast Missouri State, they went sub-500 in the non-conference, but they've gone 7-3 now in the OVC. They are tied for first. Now, they're fighting for a number 1 seed in that tournament. And somebody, possibly in this region, either Southeast Missouri State or SIUE, or I guess conceivably Lindenwood if they were to go on a miracle run, but one of those two could get in the NCAA tournament. You could have 5 teams in this region in the NCAA tournament. Mizzou, Illinois, SLU. I think we've established those 3. Southern Illinois, who plays today, they're at the top right now of the Valley. And either SIUE or Southeast Missouri State. SIUE lost yesterday. They fell to Morehead State 55-50, another contender for the number 1 seed in the league. So it's not a terrible loss necessarily, but one they really wanted to get. Southeast Missouri State handed it to Marty Simmons in Eastern Illinois 79-68. So congrats to them. Tennessee State beat Lindenwood 83-66. That's your college hoops. Travis Ford is coming up next. We have at 10:45 Rebecca Tillett, the women's coach at SLU. They beat Fordham last night. Had fun calling that one 87-84. They were clearly the underdog in that game and tipped the scales and won that one by 3. She's got a program moving now. You can just tell. It's going to be a good program for a long time, I think. Then at 11:15, back to Mizzou basketball with Tom Hart of ESPN and SEC Network. 11:30, Mike Girsch, general manager of the St. Louis Cardinals, will be with us. 11:45, our Blues breakdown. They lost to the Avalanche 4-2. They've lost 4 in a row. Started out really slow, then came alive, but too late. And the Stanley Cup champs jumped them early and won it by a couple of goals. 4-2. Blues breakdown, a lot of players and Coach Craig Berube near the back end of the show. That's our show, Sports on a Sunday Morning. We'll talk a little more about what happened in Australia next with Novak Djokovic winning, a couple other big sports headlines before we get Travis Ford at the bottom of the hour from the Stifel Sports Studio.
Royal Banks of Missouri is your community bank with locations throughout St. Louis, St. Charles, Northeast Missouri, Granite City, and Jerseyville, Illinois. A bank branch is not far away. Royal Banks brings in experienced staff and products and services designed to meet your professional and personal financial needs. Investing in our communities, one client at a time. Call 314-212-1500 today. Royal Banks of Missouri, member FDIC, and equal opportunity lender. Looking for a new home or to refinance your current mortgage? Royal Banks of Missouri wants to be your home buying partner. With a local staff that will guide you through the process, Royal Banks is an experienced mortgage lender that you can trust. There's still time to lock in on a low rate. Call 314-212-1500 today. Royal Banks of Missouri, where better service means better banking. Member FDIC and equal opportunity lender.
What's up, everybody? Guess who's coming to your screens every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday? No Mercy with yours truly, Stephen A. Smith, is now available on YouTube. For the first time in my career, I've got complete freedom to say my piece on everything beyond the world of sports, unfiltered, and now in video. Join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at the very least for my take on the biggest headlines and conversations with the biggest names in entertainment. Subscribe now so you don't miss an episode. No Mercy with Stephen A. Smith, a presentation of Cadence 13 and Odyssey Studio. Full episodes available now on YouTube.
What really matters to you? At Archwell Health, that's what matters to us. When Linda told her doctor about the trip her family planned for her 70th birthday, our team worked together to improve her mobility. Then there's Shirley, who wanted to lose a little weight. She and her doctor chose an Archwell Health exercise class, and her dietitian also had a few ideas. We're here to help you live your life to the fullest, because you are more than a patient. Join today at archwellhealth.com/livewell.
If your business has 5 or more employees and managed to survive COVID, you could be eligible to receive a payroll tax rebate of up to $26,000 per employee. I'm Amy Mark Scores for Innovation Refunds. Now, this isn't a loan. There's no payback. It's a refund of your taxes. And if you're wondering, how do I get through the red tape and get my business the refund money? Go to getrefunds.com. The team of tax attorneys they've put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program and have already returned $1 billion to businesses, and they can help you too. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those who took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had an increase in sales. To find out if your business qualifies, just go to getrefunds.com, click on the Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. Don't miss out. Go to getrefunds.com, getrefunds.com.
Overhead Door Company of St. Louis is hiring commercial and residential technicians and installers. Do you have a technical background? Are you mechanically and or electronically inclined? Overhead Door Company of St. Louis offers a paid training program, company vehicle that you take home, health benefits, competitive pay, starting bonus, and much more. now hiring commercial and residential technicians. Go to overheaddoorsstlouis.com to learn more. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original.
End zone, got her! Big fly, Nolan Arenado!
Driving jam time!
The Billikens win this one.
Touchdown! Kansas City!
Welcome back to Sports on a Sunday morning on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
Welcome back to the show. Max Homa won the Farmers Insurance Open. I thought that was cool. He's one of my favorite players. Max is really great. He's great on Twitter. That's kind of what got me attracted to him. I like the personality of the player coming out. You know, golf for a long time needed great personalities, and they did. You know, Arnold Palmer was really one of the first that everybody just, you know, Arnie's Army. They wanted to be around him, see him, big personality, and also a phenomenal player. And I think through the years, the players understood that, marketed themselves, and became great personalities. I'm not saying that Homa is Arnold Palmer, but, you know, some of these players that can show up and play great and also be good, friendly, fun personalities. He's got a little baby and his wife was there, and you know, you sort of have followed his life. If you have, I have, on social media. I like that. I like that when we watch a player that we're not just watching a machine hitting a golf ball, we're actually watching a human being, because sports are about triumphs and failures, and often a lot of failures. You know, these guys don't win a lot of tournaments. They go out and they play and they lose them. You know, even when they finish second, it's a loss. Only one person can emerge. And so I think it's a fun storyline when you get to know somebody like Max Homa, who is coming right out of the gate here in 2023 with a great tournament win in San Diego at Torrey Pines. So congrats to him. Meanwhile, Novak Djokovic, that's a totally different human story. You know, as you recall, you know, he was deported from Australia. He was deported from Australia because he was not vaccinated against COVID-19. So, you know, whatever side you were on that, and it was talked about throughout the pandemic. You had, maybe you didn't have a take, or some did. You know, some believe, well, he's not vaccinated. That's the rule. And others thought, well, you shouldn't be, you shouldn't have to be told what to do. You know, is the thought on that side of the argument. Well, anyway, Novak Djokovic, it's a human interest story, because after all of that, he goes back to Australia this year and he wins the Australian Open, and he was very emotional about it. And he really wasn't challenged last night or early this morning either. He was just better. Stefanos Tsitsipas lost in straight sets, 6-3, 7-6, 7-6 to Novak Djokovic. Let me tell you where he's been now. He has won the Australian Open 10 times. That is a record. Nobody's done it. 10 Australian Open titles for Novak Djokovic. He now has 22 Grand Slam titles, 22 major singles Grand Slam titles. That is tied for the all-time record with Rafael Nadal. Roger Federer had that record for a long time. Then Nadal passed him, and now Djokovic has tied Nadal. 22 all-time for Djokovic. And here's another one. He's won 13 hard court titles, 13 major titles on the hard court. He is tied for the most all-time with Serena Williams. Now, that's some serious company here. Novak Djokovic, does he get mentioned as the greatest tennis player of all time? I don't know that he does. Nadal, Federer, for a long time, Sampras, a lot of those players got that title. Djokovic, when it's all said and done, may be. He will be number one in the ATP rankings. He has held that for more weeks than any other man in history of tennis. He is going to go from number 5 back to number 1. So Novak Djokovic wins the Australian Open. His unbeaten streak in Melbourne, if you're curious, is 28 matches. That's the longest run at the tournament for a man in the Open era. That dates back to 1968. And that's just insane. So congrats to Novak Djokovic. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, we have a chat with Travis Ford, the head coach of the St. Louis Billikens. His team has won 6 in a row. They're 7-1 in the Atlantic 10. They are on fire, and they are on KMOX next.
KMOX Enter Service Weekend, sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. For all station contest rules, go to kingmox.com/rules.
Need to sell your home, but not willing to play the wait and see game? This is Debbie Monterey with Gloria Liu with your home sold guaranteed realty. With Gloria Liu, you have seller options to choose from, including a no obligation cash offer from one of Gloria Liu's cash buyers. It's simple, straightforward, and in many cases, you can receive a cash offer in less than 24 hours. No more wait and see game. And you can even pick the closing date. With Gloria Liu and her cash offer program, you are always in control. Not ready for the cash offer? No problem. Gloria Liu has a guaranteed sold program that states Gloria will sell your home at your agreed to price and time frame, or she will buy it herself, guaranteed in writing. Gloria has solutions and options for every seller. So call today and ask about Gloria's no obligation cash offer program or the guaranteed sold program, 314-325-6888, or online at gloriahasthebuyers.com. Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Jewels on Hampton in St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches. Bring your collectibles and clocks, sports memorabilia, and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa. Call them at 314-752-5000. That's 314-752-5000. So if you need some extra cash, looking for that one-of-a-kind piece, make Jewels on Hampton your first stop. Jewels on Hampton in St. Louis Hills.
Royal Banks of Missouri is your community bank with locations throughout St. Louis, St. Charles, Northeast Missouri, Granite City, and Jerseyville, Illinois. A bank branch is not far away. Royal Banks brings in experienced staff and products and services designed to meet your professional and personal financial needs. Investing in our communities, one client at a time. Call 314-212-1500 today. Royal Banks of Missouri, member FDIC, and equal opportunity lender. Looking for a new home or to refinance your current mortgage? Royal Banks of Missouri wants to be your home buying partner. With a local staff that will guide you through the process, Royal Banks is an experienced mortgage lender that you can trust. There's still time to lock in on a low rate. Call 314-212-1500 today. Royal Banks of Missouri, where better service means better banking. Member FDIC and equal opportunity lender.
Football's biggest game of the year is coming up February 12th. But if you're looking to travel in 2023, the biggest day of the year for you is February 4th. It's AAA Travel Marketplace. It's the super big, can't-miss travel event of the year. AAA Travel Marketplace features tons of cruise and tour partners all under one roof with limited-time special offers for huge savings on your next dream vacation. AAA Travel Marketplace, Saturday, February 4th, 9 a.m. till noon at the Holiday Inn at Watson and Lindbergh in Sunset Hills. Get all the info at AAA.com/travel show.
It's on Gunner. Big fly. Nolan Arenado.
Driving jam time!
The Pelicans win this one.
Touchdown! Kansas City! Welcome back to Sports on a Sunday morning on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
Welcome back to the show. Tom Ackerman with you. Our visit with Travis Ford is sponsored by Royal Banks of Missouri. Let's go to Davidson, North Carolina. Belk Arena, the Billikens taking on Davidson.
Collins for Pickett. Wants the hard drive on the freshman. Backs the big down. Head fake. Up and under. Spins. Window. Yes! Actually, he just scooped it in.
Yes, that was Javante Picketovich with the Euro step and spin.
Wow. Timeout.
That's fun. Bob Ramsey, Earl Austin Jr. with the call. Javon Pickett led the Billikens in scoring with 14 points. Javante Perkins had 13. Double figures for Gibson Jimerson. He had 11. And the Billikens win the game. Yuri Collins, 12 points, 10 assists, 6 double-double of the season. Travis Ford, that was some win over Davidson on Friday night. Congratulations.
Well, thanks, Tom. Good to be with you. It was a good road win. On national television on Friday night, in a place that's given us trouble. Obviously we've had a tough time over there, and really proud of the team, total team effort. You had the Javon Pickett clip there. He really, really played well for us. I thought Yuri did a great job of managing the game. There were swings within the game, and I thought Yuri just did a great job of managing and having great poise throughout the game, getting guys shots where they needed them. But a really good road victory.
Yeah, really nice win. And I know Davidson is a 500 team going into that, and with a record of 3-5 in the league, that would tell me they probably want that even more. I mean, they'd probably be an even tougher opponent for you. And there's no cupcake in the A10, especially when you play at Davidson. That is one of the great places in college hoops.
No, you're right. You could throw records out. They would just come off a big road victory. And it was sold out Friday night. They announced a sellout crowd there. It was a big game for both of us. But, you're always trying to put your best foot forward when you're on national television, especially the home site. And they packed it out. Their students were right there by the bench. And, boy, they were boisterous and saying some crazy stuff. And they were right there. And it was a hard fought. It was a very intense game. I don't know how much I haven't, talked to a few people. They, didn't know if you could feel it through the TV or what, but it was a really intense game from beginning to end.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can, and I love smaller venues like that. A place holds 4,500 and just gets loud and nasty.
Yeah.
That's fun.
It was
stuff.
nasty. That's a good word for it. They were nasty.
I'm sorry you have to experience that, but still, that's one of those where you just get through it. And here's the other thing: is you came out hot in the first half. You hit your first 8 shots from the floor, first 4 from 3. Did you know that it was going to be like that? I mean, do you see something in the shoot around that tells you that things are good? Do you get that indication?
No, not really through shoot around. I will say this: there was some things on film that we had studied that we thought we could kind of exploit early, and then teams start to make adjustments. But we were able to notice a few things on film and attack a few areas and a few people and do certain things that our guys did a great job of. The only problem with that, Tom, we scored our first 8, but I think we were still only up 1 or 2. we weren't guarding anybody on the other end. They were scoring the exact same amount as we were.
Yeah, and they had the lead at halftime too. What did you do in the second half? What was the adjustment? How did you finally overtake them?
Well, the biggest thing was, again, and we're trying to study this over the last day or so, we found ourselves in extreme foul trouble. We ended the half, the last 4 minutes, we ended it with Yuri on the bench, Javonte on the bench, Francis was on the bench, and then one other guy, it might have been TJ, I can't remember. We had 4 guys with 2 fouls, and 3 of those, I think, had them at about the 7-minute mark. So we had to play the last 5, 6, 7 minutes of the first half, without some starters in there. But we were able to, just be down 4, so that wasn't bad. We thought if we get everybody back in the second half, stay out of foul trouble. We did think at halftime, talking about it, once we get everybody going, everybody playing together, we thought we would make a run at it. And that's kind of the difference. Yuri got to play, the whole second half. Javonte really made some big buckets in the second half, and he got 2 fouls with I think 8.5 minutes to go in the first half, so he didn't play the rest of the half. So he got to play and really started making some big shots. Francis probably could have had 20, but we couldn't keep him out of foul trouble, except for the second half. We were able to just, apply a little bit more pressure, and we're able to go at him a little bit more offensively. We only had, I think, 30 points at halftime, something around there.
Yeah, and he scored, Okoro did 8 points in 18 and a half minutes. That's all he was able to play, as you mentioned, because of his 4 fouls. Perkins had 4 fouls. You mentioned that as well. You were able to get a Yuri Collins special, a double-double. He does it again, and the Billikens get that win by a final of 74-70. So you've now won 6 in a row. You're 7-1 in the Atlantic 10. I heard you talking about Davidson's home court advantage and all that stuff, and I started thinking about the VCU game. But hold on, there's another game here. You've got one at Fordham. How good is Fordham, Travis Ford?
Well, I'll say it's not the Fordham we all know of lately, and not even close. They wouldn't even resemble it. This team is 17-4, has won 4 in a row in conference play, and 3 of those were on the road. I think that should say enough. I've been watching film on them all day today and yesterday, and extremely talented team. Got some really good score. Got a transfer from Georgia Tech at the 4 spot. Got him out of the transfer portal, who's had 30 points yesterday. He's averaging about 16 points a game for them. It's changed their team immensely because he's a big physical presence at the 4 and can score. They play. They're going to junk up the defense. They're going to play all kinds of gimmick defenses and a lot of pressure. But they're going to go what's called a tandem in 3, where they'll put 3 guys guarding your best shooters and put the other 2 in a tandem in the zone. They'll go box and 1. They'll do a little bit of everything, and it's been working. Been very, very impressive to watch them on tape. They've got a big kid inside from Ukraine, from Kyiv, Ukraine, who is starting at the 5 spot. It's a really talented 6'10", 6'11" young man that can score with his right or left hand. So yeah, we've got a great challenge Tuesday night at Fordham.
Tandem in 3. I'm going to write that down. I might try to use it. I might use a tandem in 3 today for our game this afternoon. I like that. So this Fordham and that's the thing, is that you'll have guys like me on the air hyping up this game on Friday night. VCU, let's go. Get out there, get your popcorn. VCU. And the players are, they're on social media. They hear all that stuff. It's obviously the coaching staff's job to continue to focus on the task at hand, and that's Fordham. It doesn't sound like that's been much of an issue. I mean, you've talked earlier in the season about this team being focused. They look pretty focused right now.
Yeah, they have been. We've played so many games away from Chaffetz of lately. Probably more as far as starting a conference play. I don't know if I've ever had so many road games. I think out of our first 9 games, 6 of them are going to be on the road. And you have to be focused. Not that you don't have to be focused at home, but when you walk into hostile environments, all you have is just your team that you got to really rally around each other, support each other, and play through mistakes. That's the biggest thing that can get you on the road, is you make a couple mistakes and your team gets down. We've done a good job of just playing through mistakes, playing through adversity, just worrying about the next play. And, guys have, seem to have gained a little bit of confidence through that. So hopefully it continues. You never know. It's game to game. Every game presents a different type challenge depending on who you're playing, their style of play, their personnel. And Fordham is just that. They present a different challenge in how they defend and things like that. So, we better be focused.
Yeah, just look at VCU. They lost to St. Bonaventure yesterday at home, 61-58. You cannot take any nights off in the A-10. Not saying that VCU did, but everybody is capable of beating anybody, no doubt. So you have a half-game lead right now. You're the first-place team in the Atlantic 10. You've got Fordham and then VCU. You also have, and final thing here is I hosted your coach's show on Monday with Corey Tate, and it was so much fun. I mean, it's just 2 guys talking ball. We had a great time over at the Fieldhouse, and he said so many great things about you. One of them was that first year that you were together, that you called him into your room and you said, hey, I want to know, are you with me? Let's do this together. And, we can do a lot of great things together. And the 2 of you have developed a friendship and a partnership here. I just thought maybe you could return the favor as to what Corey Tate has meant to you and your program.
Oh gosh, I don't know if we have enough time. I remember that meeting because, I thought the world of Corey, first of all, and I had been around him a ton in the past, other than through recruiting and different things. But, our short time at that time, we'd been together for, 6-7 months, whatever it was. But I started to realize just what a great mind he had for the game, the relationships he had with the players and the community, and and his loyalty. And And I also started realizing how difficult this was going to be. That all right, this was a tough deal we took over, and it's going to take some time. It's going to take some longevity. It's going to take, this thing's not going to happen overnight. And just wanted to let him know how much I believed in him and how much I appreciated all he had done to that point. And, we just need to stick it out because, that was a first year or so was pretty tough as far as in the win-loss column. And, and since then we've grown. It's not a working relationships. It's more like a family relationships. I tell our players all the time, if you want to learn how to build relationships and how to enrich relationships, study Corey Tate. He just has a great relationships with people, whether it be, people in the community, whether it be players, whatever it may be. He's just genuinely cares about relationships. And he doesn't take it for granted, but has a great mind for the game, and somebody who is, I consider a brother. And we've been through a lot in the last 6.5 or so years, and couldn't want anybody else by my side than him. He's just terrific.
That's really well said. If people only knew, and they do now through the radio and other ways, they learn how close these coaching staffs are and how much they are like family, and they really are family. So that's well said. So you have Fordham on Tuesday night at 6:00. By the way, the women beat Fordham last night. I was there for that. That was awesome. They get the win over Fordham, and we'll hear from Rebecca Tillett coming up in the next segment. I know you're pretty happy to see what's going on there.
No, it's impressive. Really impressive what Rebecca's doing. First years are never easy. We just talked a little bit about it. And to beat a Fordham team, Fordham's been one of the better teams in our league over the last couple of years. Fordham is, got a really, really good women's basketball program. And so that was a huge, huge win. You can see this team. I've seen it from I'm here every day, but from the outside looking in, you can see them getting better every single day. And, they're definitely headed in the right direction. But an exciting big win yesterday against Fordham, really big win.
Yeah, it was fun. Good atmosphere, too. And I know you're going to have one on Friday night against VCU. You got some work until then, but that is something. If it's not sold out now, I think it's going to get close. So I'd encourage people to grab a ticket for that Friday night against VCU, Travis Ford.
Well, we hope so. VCU's a really good basketball team. We hope to sell it out. Great crowd, be loud. Should be a fun and exciting game.
Thank you for the time, as always. I appreciate this. Sponsored by Royal Banks of Missouri. Have a great rest of your day, and good luck in the Bronx.
Always enjoy it. Appreciate it.
See ya. Travis Ford with us on KMOX. Our producer's Drew Young. I'm Tom Ackerman. Coming up next, a visit with Rebecca Tillett, the head coach of the St. Louis University women's basketball team. What a win. 33 points for Kyla McMakin. It's next.
Secrets, cover-ups, and strange phenomena.
UFOs and ideas that challenge reality itself.
My name is George Knapp. I dig into news stories that others can't or won't.
I'm Jeremy Corbell, and for some reason, people tell me things they probably shouldn't. And this is Weaponized. Follow and listen to Weaponized, a presentation of Jeremy Corbell, George Knapp, Dark Horse Entertainment, and Cadence 13 Studios. Available now for free on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your shows.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm a physician, and I still see patients every day. And, so I tell my patients about this. And they ask me, well, what are you taking? And so I tell them, taking Balance of Nature. And they go, oh, yeah, I've heard about that. So I tell them how to get it. I give them your telephone number, 246-8751. And I tell them, call this number. And I said, they'll take care of you after that. So, I'm primary care. I really think that it works well for people to have fruits, vegetables.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature right now. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com for more information or to place your order. Shipping is always free. And don't forget to get 35% off your first order as a preferred customer by using discount code Arch.
The Sheldon presents bluegrass artist Ricky Skaggs with Kentucky Thunder, Friday, January 27th at 8 p.m. 15-time Grammy Award winner Ricky Skaggs' career is among the most significant in recent country music history. One night only at the Sheldon. Tickets and info at thesheldon.org.
A couple weeks ago, as cold as it's been in quite a few years, and we had excess of 200 plus phone calls we just couldn't handle in 3 days. 200 plus, that's double what we normally do on the hottest day of the year. That's ridiculous. That would mean I would need 25 more people, which we didn't have, and I appreciate everybody understanding, and hopefully it all worked out for you, and hopefully it's not a sign to come, but definitely, without a question, if your furnace is older or you're not sure, definitely call me, have us come out and check your furnace, make sure you're good for this winter. That's Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois. It's 314-293-2600. Again, Bart Inman, 314-293-2600, or Bart Inman, that's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com.
It's on Goddard. Big fly, Nolan Arenado.
Driving jam time.
And the Pelicans win this one. Touchdown, Kansas City! Welcome back to Sports on a Sunday morning on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
You are listening to Sports on a Sunday morning from the Stiefel Sports Studio.
She wants a screen. Martinez to McMakin, left baseline, jumper short, faded away. Rebound, Martinez. Kicks it out to McMakin, puts up a layup. Good on the drive. Kyla McMakin drives to the left side, and SLU reclaims the lead. 73-71 with 4.5 to go. She takes a shot, missed it short. Rebound, McMakin to Martinez. Up ahead for Flowers. Layup good for Brooke Flowers in transition. 82-74 is the Billiken lead with 1:18 to go. Dingle to the free throw line. Throws it right side. 3 ball on the way from McQuillan is no good. Rebound to Pa. Puts up a shot. No. She kicks it out for 3. It is no good. And the rebound taken by McMakin, and she's fouled with 1.8 seconds left. Next one from McMakin. It's in the air. It's no good. Quick rebound. DePaul has to let it go. No! Misses the three-quarter length shot. SLU wins the game. 87-84 over Fordham. Tom Ackerman with you courtside, joined by head coach Rebecca Tillett. Wow. I mean, that had it all. Congratulations.
It really did. You know, what a game for our women, just being really tough. I mean, that's something that we've been talking about. You know, there was definitely drama in that game, adversity, runs, great plays by both teams. And I thought our women just stayed the course. And, you know, there were multiple moments where you could see leaders on the team, Julia, Brooke, Kyla, basically either verbally saying it or saying it with their body language. We are not losing this game. Like, we are going to find a way to do it. And they did it. Great job by our women.
That was a physical basketball game. That team over there plays hard and tough.
They really do. And, you know, they're top 3 in the league for a reason, for all of those reasons. I thought our women executed the game plan at a really high level. And we had to adjust along the way because we maybe take one thing away and then they would attack something else. And I think our women did a great job adjusting.
So let's take it by pieces. You come out hot. You come out on a 9-0 run. They respond with an 8-0 run. But you close out that first quarter with an incredible flurry. You're up by 12 at that point. Then they come back. What do they do to come out in that? And they cut it to 11. It was 11 at the half. They come out in the third quarter with some full court pressure.
They really did. You know, I think that bothered us a little bit, which is not something that usually bothers us. I think we had some adversity in the game. You know, Camry got injured in the game. There were just a couple things going on. Ken was in foul trouble. Julie was doing everything right, but her layups weren't going in, you know. So there were just some adversity moments that our team had to respond to. And, you know, it was a moment in the huddle where we're like, guys, we have to draw the line somewhere because we were able to get a lead on, you know, everybody we play at some point in time. And so how are we going to do that and hold it? And I think this was a really important one for our women to know that they can do that. They can hold the lead.
We saw Camry on crutches there on the sideline, and we certainly wish her the best. As you mentioned, Kennedy had 3 fouls in the first quarter, but she comes right back out there and is playing and does an admirable job of staying off the score sheet from that point. On the score sheet, however, is everybody. But let me talk about, first of all, you mentioned Julia Martinez. She has 13 assists, 12 rebounds, couldn't put the ball in the basket, but played 39 minutes and came away that shy, 4 points shy of a triple-double.
Yeah, really, really incredible effort by her. I mean, one of the huge plays she made at the end was a deflection into a steal opportunity where they really had a little bit of momentum. And I think she just has that will to, help her team in whatever way she can on any given night. 9 assists at halftime, then came back out and got 4 more in the second half. And her rebounding. I mean, she's one of the best guard rebounders in the league. And she's averaging a double-double for us in conference play. It's incredible.
It was. Brooke Flowers, they had a lot of trouble stopping her in the post when you got it to her. 23 points and 10 rebounds for Brooke.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things with Brooke. She's coming into her own of being really aggressive offensively. Our team's coming into their own of utilizing that skill set and finding her. And I think this is a big response because she played really well at Davidson. So obviously Fordham had a little bit of plans for her, and she still found her moments. She was really special in transition and got some critical rebounds in the second half.
She was terrific. Peyton Kennedy off the bench, 17 points. Talk about tough. 5 rebounds. She was involved in just about everything, it seemed.
She really was all over the floor. Really has a nice connection in terms of, you can tell when teammates have played together for a long time, right? Julia, Peyton, and Brooke have a way of finding each other, a knack that they know, hey, she might go right here. And then they find each other. I thought Peyton was really special for us off the bench tonight. And that makes us more dangerous when we have people coming off the bench that the other team has to prepare for it in that way.
And finally, the person we're going to talk to here in a second, that's Kyla McMakin. 33 points. She knocks down 3 threes. She finds wherever it is on the floor. One of the hardest things to do in basketball is get open without the ball. And they're all over, and she still drops in 33.
Yeah, I thought she had a really special night in terms of her patience and efficiency and finding the right play at the right time. We told her at halftime we thought it was the best defensive half we'd seen from her yet this season, and we were really thrilled about that for her growth and development. But she's, an elite scorer, and every time she's feeling good, we have an opportunity to, really go after teams. It was really great to see a balanced scoring effort, though, with those 3 really lighting it up and then everybody else doing their part.
What a game. What a game. Enjoy this one. Have a great, great evening, and back at it for practice, but I know you'll be celebrating this one.
We sure will. Thank you so much.
Rebecca Tillett, head coach of the Billikens, with the win, 87-84 over Fordham. Making it dropped in 33 today. 00 had quite a game. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What a game. And you got to love this. You got people waiting for autographs, so I don't want to keep you very long, but to put together a performance like that as a team, first and foremost, that had to be a team effort to beat a team like that.
Oh, for sure. We had to have a really positive mindset coming in. We're underdogs going against top 3 in the A-10 conference, and so we really had nothing to lose. And before huddle, we talked about you never know when it's your last basketball game. So come out here, play, and don't leave with the I should have did this, should have did that. Give it all out in the court, and I think everyone did that.
There's a lot going on out there. There's just a lot of great players on the floor, period. But you find a way to beat this team. Toughness is something that just has to be. I mean, there's effort and toughness beyond talent. And one thing that you were congratulated for with Coach Tillett right there, but we also saw it in the first half, was your defense. How did you feel like you played defensively?
I'm really trying to work on not being a defensive weakness for this team. So it meant a lot to be able to make defensive plays for my teammates. And there's, Julia, Ken, Brooke, they go out every day, every game working very hard on defense. And I want to be able to rise up to their level and do the same thing.
You lost Camry. Kennedy was in foul trouble early. Julia making things happen out there. A number of players. When that happens, when you lose your point guards, what do you have to do offensively?
Just help. We can't shy back and let Julia do everything. We have to be options. We have to make sure that we can catch her pass. We're open for her, and just good composure from Julia. You have Ken going down, Cam going down. It could have been too much pressure, but she handled it perfectly and was able to get 13 assists, and it's just to 3 turnovers, which is she really had to rise, and she proved that she could do it.
You have found your scoring touch. Not that you ever lost it, but you lit it up today. And one last thing, before the game, you were honored as a 2,000-point scorer. Just reflecting back on your college career with so much more still to accomplish, what does that mean to you?
Oh, it means everything. Not many people know, but I wasn't. Longwood was my only D1 offer. It was my only second offer that I ever got out of high school. So it means a lot to be able to reach the success I have when before I wasn't even known. Like I wasn't even a known player, and just I thank Tillett every day. That, she was my cannonball experience. After meeting her, all these amazing things have happened, and I wouldn't be here without her. So
pretty fun to watch.
Yeah.
Congratulations on the win. That's a big one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's big right there. I love that from Kyla McMakin. She said, not a lot of people know this, but the only Division I offer I got was from Longwood. Now here she is at St. Louis University, dropping in 33 points. Pretty special. 2,000-point scorer in Division I college basketball. Not a lot of those. Only 10 active players are. Back after the news from the Stiefel Sports Studio.
The average time a resume spends on an HR manager's desk is 7 seconds, and most of them are tossed aside. Now imagine if one of those resumes belonged to Yasmin, who was
living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
Or if that resume was from someone who
worked 12-hour shifts at the recycling company with my dad, who's 72. That taught me a work ethic that I carry with me every day.
we rely so much on a resume, yet it could never tell the full story of someone.
Growing up where I did, a lot of things could have gotten in the way of my goals, but I learned to push through, and that's what I bring to work every day.
So maybe it's time we look beyond the resume and look to Grads of Life. Discover new ways to develop great talent that are so much more than what's on paper at gradsoflife.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Grads of Life and the Ad Council.
Achieve your financial goals with a first-line home equity loan from First Community. Apply by February 28th and get an amazing introductory rate of 3.69% APR for the first 12 months. First Community even pays all your closing costs. $1 share deposit required. Must qualify for membership. Loan subject to credit approval. Offer does not include refinances on First Community loans. Visit firstcommunity.com for terms and conditions or call 888-642-7969. Federally insured by the NCUA. Equal housing lender. NMLS 684198.
God, I'm so stressed. It's a brand new year and our business is busier than ever.
Uma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Uma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 35 features.
Uma?
Yep. Switching to Uma is a cinch. Starts at $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Uma.
Now you're feeling it. Visit Uma.com. That's OOMA.com to learn more. Uma. Smart communications for the smarter business.
As a Walgreens pharmacist, I talk with people all the time about little tips and tricks for filling their Medicare prescriptions, like taking advantage of Walgreens 90-day refills to save them a trip, or using Refill by Scan, which is super easy and right on your phone. And for anybody worried about prescription costs, I say, hey, we got you, with low-cost copays on many medications.
Let's talk about making things easier. Walgreens is here. Fill your way and save at walgreens.com/Medicare. See pharmacists for restrictions and exclusions.
KMOX KECK HD2 St. Louis.
The legendary voice of St. Louis. This is KMOX, always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Liberty Mutual Insurance.
I'm Linda Kenyon in Washington. The attorney for the family of Tyree Nichols says all of the Memphis police officers charged in his beating death deserve to be punished.
All of these officers failed their oath. They failed their oath to protect and serve. Look at that video. Was anybody trying to protect and serve Tyree Nichols?
Attorney Ben Crump on CNN. The specialized unit those police officers belong to has been disbanded. CBS's Jared Hill is in Memphis.
Members of the community say action shouldn't stop there.
So the multi-level gang unit, the organized crime unit, all work under the same umbrella as the Scorpion unit, and they all be disbanded as well.
About 30 officers were part of this unit, which focused on violent offenders in high crime areas. G.A. Hardaway, who represents Memphis in the Tennessee State Legislature, is demanding more transparency.
Who decided that we needed a Scorpion unit with that kind of leeway? With just a wild, wild west attitude.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy tells CBS Republicans will not allow the U.S. to default on its debt.
The whole government is designed to find compromise. I want to find a
reasonable and a responsible way that we can lift the debt ceiling, but take control of this runaway spending.
3 people are dead, 4 others wounded after another mass shooting in California. KCBS TV reporter Candace Crone is in Los Angeles.
Crime scene investigators worked late into the evening Saturday, combing this Beverly Crest neighborhood for clues after 7 people were shot in what police are calling a shootout. Officers responded and discovered 3 people dead inside a car parked in front of the house. The other 4 victims were taken to nearby hospitals with serious injuries.
In Baltimore,
I'm Tom Foti. After several mass shootings on the West Coast this past week, Baltimore police are now asking for public help in solving one in the East, one that also involved a car crash and left 1 person dead and 4 people hurt, 3 adults, 2 children.
Really, at this point, I'm talking to folks that look like me, to black men in Baltimore. I see a lot of folks trying to be, acting like they tough, but they really weak. Because only weak people shoot somebody when you know children are right there.
That's Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott. Novak Djokovic has won his 10th Australian Tennis Open.
It was a hard-fought clash. Stefanos Tsitsipas made Novak Djokovic feel the pressure and run around the court. Both made forced errors, but in the end, Djokovic won 6-3, 7-6, 7-6 after tiebreakers. Last year's visa debacle made it tough.
Not playing last year, coming back this year.
This is CBS News.
Nobody should have to pay for one-size-fits-all insurance coverage. Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance, so you only pay for what you need. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 11:03, we have cloudy skies and 28 degrees downtown at the Gateway Arch. Good morning. I'm Scott Jagow. Our top story this hour, a man accused of committing a child sex crime has been taken into custody in St. Louis County.
Police say 48-year-old Julian Jones, senior of Castle Point, surrendered on Saturday, one day after Crime Stoppers asked for information on his whereabouts. Police had said he was known to be in the St. Louis and O'Fallon, Illinois areas. Officers said Jones faces a second-degree statutory rape charge. Investigators reportedly have evidence tying the suspect to the pregnancy of a victim under the age of 17. Bond was set at $150,000. Brad Choate, KMOX News.
Well, they don't often agree, but KMOX political analysts Hancock and Kelly are both in opposition to the city aldermen hiking their annual pay to $72,000. Republican John Hancock on Total Information AM this morning.
The tone deafness of doubling or nearly doubling your salary to represent constituents in a city that is losing population left and right is the height of hubris.
Michael Kelly responded to one alderman who said they work well beyond 40 hours per week for their constituents.
I don't know what he's wasting his time on, but they ought to give him some shovels and some asphalt and send him out to start paving the roads in the city. This place looks like Beirut, and these folks are running around trying to, give themselves raises and talk about the nobility of fighting for others when all they're doing is lining their own pocket.
Mayor Jones signs the bill. It will go into effect after the amount of board members drops from 28 to 14. Another mass shooting in California yesterday has people saying we need tougher gun laws even more.
After 30 years last year, Congress passed significant gun safety laws, but are they enough? And is the House willing to take up the matter again?
There's just not the political complexion to let those things get through the U.S. House. Not now, but there are Republicans in the House who may be entertaining the concept or at least the debate.
But until House leadership brings it to the floor by Speaker Republican Kevin McCarthy, nothing comes to a vote. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Just underway at the St. Louis Jewish Community Center, it's the used book sale that runs through February 2nd. Proceeds benefit the Jay's Cultural Arts Department. There's free admission Monday through Wednesday, and Thursday is bargain day. It's open until 5 this afternoon. Your weather forecast, temperatures not getting much warmer than they are now. Overcast and colder tonight, only 18 for the low. Tomorrow and Tuesday, mid-20s for highs. And then we're looking at a storm system midweek. It may pass south of us, but something to keep an eye on. Right now, it's 27 in St. Peters, 26 in Florissant, and 28 downtown at the Arch. I'm Scott Jagow, KMOX News.
There's a high fly ball from KMOX Sports. That's hit deep to left field, and it's a gunner.
Big fly, Nolan Arenado. There's a moment for
win this one. Comeback pattern caught. Touchdown! Kansas City! Now, sports on a Sunday morning on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
Looking over the lines for today's games, 2 o'clock is the start for the Eagles at home against the 49ers. Philadelphia's line has moved to 3. That's an indication that some of the money is going to the Eagles in this one. They opened as a 2.5-point favorite. It got to 3 briefly during this past week, but it's pretty much hovered around 2.5 until this morning. That line has moved back to 3, and the Eagles are a favorite in this game by a field goal. The over-under is 45. That seems pretty accurate. I mean, you know, you got to figure that these two teams are thought to be defensive juggernauts and keep this game kind of low and tough. You know, there's 31 in the Cowboys game. 49ers won that 19-12. However, the last time these two quarterbacks faced each other, and yes, they have faced each other, Brock Purdy and Jalen Hurts have played against each other. And I'll tell you exactly when that was. It was in 2019. Hurts actually played for Oklahoma. If you recall, and a lot of people remember him as an Alabama quarterback, but he played for Oklahoma before that. He passed for 3 touchdowns and ran for 2 scores for Oklahoma. Purdy in that game threw 5 touchdown passes for Iowa State. Number 9, Oklahoma beat Iowa State that day in Norman, 42-41. Purdy recalled this week, it was almost like you had to score every single time you had the ball. I don't think that's going to be the case today, but that's their memory of facing each other, was a high-scoring contest, 42-41 back in 2019. In the college football season, it was a great, great game. I remember that game. 2 young quarterbacks going head-to-head. Well, they're at it again in the NFC Championship game. Brock Purdy, who is Mr. Irrelevant. Everyone's been talking about the rookie sensation. He was the last pick in the NFL draft, going up against one of the great quarterbacks coming out of college, Jalen Hurts. We'll see where it goes today. The Eagles at home are very good. 49ers really put it on the Cowboys. And, you know, Purdy's faced loud crowds before. But this is going to be pretty rowdy in Philadelphia today. We'll see what happens between these two today in the NFC Championship. And I've talked a lot already about the AFC Championship, my feelings there. I like the Bengals in this game, not by much, but I like the Bengals in this game. They have everything that it takes to go on the road and win in a hostile environment. And I know the Chiefs dealing with Patrick Mahomes' injury. That's not really my reason, but it does sway me. The fact that Travis Kelce had some back spasms shouldn't be too much of an issue. But the fact that Patrick Mahomes dealing with a high ankle sprain coming out of that Jacksonville game is an issue. He's not going to be the same mobile quarterback and some of the innovative things that he does, running around there, throwing shovel passes and little flip passes and all those things. But that's how you're going to have to beat Cincinnati, is short passes, getting the ball into the hands of the running back, getting the ball in the hands of Kelce, short passes to the slot, and being creative. They'll have to figure it out. There will be a way to beat Cincinnati, and if the Chiefs find it, congratulations to them. I don't think they're going to, but we'll see. It'll be fun regardless. That's the 5:30 game, the Bengals and the Chiefs in the NFC Championship game. I'm really, really looking forward to that. We will hear about, we've had some people comment that they want to hear some baseball. Well, you will on this show coming up at the bottom of the hour. The general manager of the Cardinals is Michael Girsch, and he visited with Matt Pauley. We'll hear from him. Really good interview, I thought, starting with some thoughts on Scott Rowland becoming a Hall of Famer. I am thrilled for Scott. He is going into the Hall of Fame with Fred McGriff. He is 100% deserving of that. He received 76% of the vote and snuck in there by 5 votes. I think it is absolutely deserving of one of the great third basemen of his era. And it's a shame there aren't enough third basemen in the Hall of Fame, but perhaps this opens the door for others. Third base, a lot of the third basemen move from that position to other positions. That's one of the reasons why. But you think to what he was able to accomplish, both offensively and defensively, Scott Rowland is one of the better players of his generation. And so when you tell the story of his generation, a lot of those players would tell you themselves, Scott Rowland's a Hall of Fame caliber player. So he goes into the Hall of Fame. There's no argument anymore. He's in there. 76% of the vote. He'll go in this summer with Fred McGriff, another player who's very deserving. I think it's a great theme. Two players who had to wait. McGriff had to wait a long time. And so it'll be very special for those two individuals and the former Cardinal, Scott Rowland. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, Tom Hart, broadcaster, Mizzou made, SEC Network, ESPN. We're talking Mizzou basketball and Illinois and the college basketball landscape next on KMOX.
1 in 4 people surveyed by Bankrate.com say they're literally losing sleep because of worries that they may have not saved enough to retire. If you're ready to get serious about planning for your financial future, you could start by listening to the All Financial Hour with host Steve All of the All Financial Group.
What are your wishes, hopes, and dreams? What's retirement look like for you? Because everybody, that picture is different. We're not here to sell you anything. If you want assistance, we can also help you at that point.
Tune in Saturday mornings at 10 right here on KMOX.
Download Upside and start getting cash back wherever you roll. It's like having your own hype man. Get an average of 17% cash back at restaurants.
Oh, it's dinner time.
Average of 13% on groceries.
Get those groceries.
10 cents per gallon average cash back on gas.
It's go time.
Plus, cash back at participating convenience stores too.
Stacks on stacks.
Users can earn hundreds of dollars a year, 3 times more than other apps.
Upside, show me that money.
All right, we get it. It's easy. Just sign up for the free Upside app and start getting cash back for doing you. Download the free Upside app and use promo code DOYOU for an extra $10 cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. That's promo code DOYOU for an extra $10 on the free Upside app. Get cash back for doing you with the free app from Upside.
Thanks for calling 1-800-GOT-JUNK. This is Sarah. How can I help?
I want to meet your tailor and your hairdresser. The people cruising around in your trucks look like catalog models.
You could be wearing one of those uniforms and riding around in one of those trucks.
You'll be a technician and a magician. That sounds awesome.
It is awesome. Your job will be to make junk disappear whenever someone points at it.
You'll teach me?
We'll teach you.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit 1-800-GOTJUNK.com.
As the familiar tune fills the air, joy radiates along with the heat of flickering flames. You make a wish for another year surrounded by the ones you love. With each passing year, the compassionate team at Prairie Cardiovascular will be by your side with heart care that allows you to focus on what matters most. A life well lived. Prairie Cardiovascular, here with you.
I'm Brian Westbrook with Coalition Life. Over the past decade, Coalition Life has served thousands of women in crisis pregnancies, helping to save the lives of the children that they carry. Help us build a better community while also reducing or completely eliminating your Missouri taxes with a 70% tax credit. A $1,000 donation today to help these women could cost you as little as $141 out of pocket. Learn more at coalitionlife.com, coalitionlife.com. Thank you.
For garage door repair, St. Louis calls the real Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. They're the ones with the red ribbon. They're the ones who've been here since 1926. Others try to copy the name, but they cannot match the level of service. The red ribbon means 94 years of trust and loyalty from St. Louis homeowners. Always look for the red ribbon. It means you've got the genuine, the original Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Call 314-781-5200.
What really matters to you? At Archwell Health, that's what matters to us. When Linda told her doctor about the trip her family planned for her 70th birthday, our team worked together to improve her mobility. Then there's Shirley, who wanted to lose a little weight. She and her doctor chose an Archwell Health exercise class, and her dietitian also had a few ideas. We're here to help you live your life to the fullest because you are more than a patient. Join today at archwellhealth.com/livewell.
It's on, got her! Big fly, Nolan Arenado!
Driving jam time!
The Billikens win this one.
Touchdown! Kansas City! Welcome back to Sports on a Sunday morning on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
I'll take a little sip of my drink, and Drew's like, are you ready to go? I'm always ready to go, man. No, but he's always looking out for me. I have a great guest on the line. 11:16 Sports on a Sunday morning. Tom Ackerman with you. I love this time of year. Tom Hart is with us, broadcaster from ESPN, SEC Network, the University of Missouri. How are you, Tom?
Good morning, Tom. I love the energy. I'm fantastic. It was indeed a great college basketball weekend, and I feel like, and I don't know if you're the same way, but I feel like there's a bunch of different starting points to the college basketball season, right? There's November 7th or 9th or whenever we start. And then there's the end of the college football regular season and more people come on board. And then the end of the college football national championship and more people come on board. And then this time of year where the NFL starts to wind down and even more fans say, hey, what's going on with Purdue? What's going on with Kansas? And they start to pay more and more attention to college basketball. And the games get bigger.
That's a great way to look at it. You're absolutely right. This time of year, and I'm looking up at one of our monitors at CBS, and I'm seeing Mackey Arena. And, you know, as an Indiana University grad, I'm not supposed to talk about this, but it looks electric. It looks awesome. And I just get so excited. I just love this time of year. They're taking on Michigan State today. The Big Ten is an absolute gauntlet. We'll get to that in just a moment. I wanted to get your thoughts on Mizzou scorching Iowa State last night or yesterday afternoon, 78-61. I know you had the Baylor game, but Mizzou wins by 17 over the 12th ranked team in the country. First of all, how good is Iowa State? And secondly, how big of a win is this for Mizzou?
Well, Iowa State is really good. I mean, they came in the 12th ranked team in the country, and in my mind, the Big 12 is the best conference in college basketball. The depth they have there, the quality of offensive teams and the shooters that they have in that league, that's a really good league that's going to be all over March Madness. So any win against anybody from the Big 12 is good, and Iowa State is a very well-coached team full of talent. Now, Missouri has proven with the style they play under Dennis Gates that they could win just about any game. They are one of the streakiest teams in college basketball. There's a newish term called kill shots, which is any run that you have of 10-0 or better. And Missouri is one of the top teams in the country that puts together 10-0 runs on offense. They get hot quick. They can stay hot. Now, this is going to sound very elementary, but if the shots aren't falling, they're a very different team. They are, Tom, you'll love this number. In their wins versus their losses, they make 5 more threes in their wins than they do their losses. So that's 15 points that they're getting on perimeter jump shots in games that they win versus games they lose. A 15-point swing in any game is monstrous. And that's been the key to this team right now. And Demoy Hodge is shooting the lights out of the ball, and they got a bunch of dudes that can score.
Yeah, they hit 14 threes yesterday, 14 of 30. They have no fear putting the ball up from beyond the arc. And you're right, that Illinois game, Kobe Brown was just draining from outside, just out of control. It was so much fun to watch from a Missouri standpoint, not so much from Illinois. Kentucky gets beat by Missouri, and they're bombing threes on Kentucky. 100% right. And I think it does go back to the coach, Dennis Gates, who had an interesting comment after the game yesterday. I want to get it verbatim. I'm going to see if I can find it. But I saw it on TV after the game in his press conference. He said that he didn't think they played all that great. And there was like a chuckle. And he said, well, you guys laugh, but I still haven't seen it. I mean, I don't really look at results. I look at the way that we play. What has he done to change the culture in Columbia, Tom?
Well, it's twofold. It all comes from the same source, but it impacts a couple of different branches of his tree. It's the style and the energy, right? And the style and the energy for guys like you and me who are just kind of college basketball fans or people listening this morning, they see it in the building. They see it in the crowd. Desiree Reed-Francois has done a fantastic job in her athletic department in getting the students invested in Missouri basketball again. And so the atmosphere has been fantastic at home, and that's a byproduct of the energy and the style with which they play. And I was talking with Kobe Brown earlier this season, either before the Kansas or the Illinois games that I called, and I asked him about that energy. And he said it's not just the coach's energy that we feel, it's the style of play that brings us energy. So it just kind of keeps renewing itself. And I think that's a very real thing. You go to Missouri practice and there's noise and there's music and there's guys running around nonstop, and even the walk-ons are screaming their head off. Conzo is a great coach, and nobody should ever take anything away from that. But we knew going in when his era started that defense and rebounding are great if you're a great team, but can be tough to get people excited if you don't have the talent. Like, you're never going to, if you have inferior talent, very rarely will you out defense and out rebound a superior team, but you can outshoot and outscore a superior team if you get hot. So I just think that it's freshened everything up.
Yeah, and with Konzo, the Michael Porter Jr. situation really was unfortunate, because I remember going to the first game, which oddly enough was against Iowa State, and it was like absolute rock concert inside Mizzou Arena. I mean, people were energized, fired up. Here we go, the new era, it's on. And then the word leaks out that Porter isn't going to play.
Konzo will, Konzo will always take the high road on that situation, because that's the kind of person he is. But that was as excited as the fan base was, and rightfully so, to get a recruit of that magnitude, especially someone from Columbia. That was doomed from the start, and for a variety of reasons. And it created this undue stress, I feel, on the entire program that was way worse than the excitement that it brought. And that's kind of from an insider's perspective. I've been around. So think about the high level of excitement, and I'm telling you, the lows were lower than the highs of the excitement from within the organization at that point.
Wow. Tom Hart is with us. Great to have him on KMOX. Want to spend a little more time talking college hoops with you as we continue to watch Mizzou. Great win for him over Iowa State, 78-61. I was flipping around yesterday and saw Oklahoma put the hammer on Alabama. My gosh, Porter Moser got his 11-9 Sooners up off the mat. They had lost 3 straight, although there were, some signs that team could have turned the corner, and they handed to Alabama. What in the world happened there? 93-69. I had just finished texting somebody that morning that I thought Alabama was the best team in the nation, and then they get whooped by 24.
You're not alone in that. There's a lot of people that love Alabama. I think Alabama's a great team, and I still think they are, but they had been given warning signs by their coach, Nate Oates. You got to be focused. We're not, kind of like the same thing Dennis Gates said. Like, coaches know what's going on with their team that sometimes isn't reflected on the scoreboard. And Alabama just had escaped Mississippi State in the midweek. They were kind of feeling themselves a little bit. And I tell you what, after giving up 50 in the first half against Oklahoma, they're not feeling themselves anymore. And it's the kind of a result that a very intense coach like Nate Oates, I think in the end, doesn't really mind. I mean, as long as it doesn't cost them a 1 seed, because that's going to be the motivation. And there's going to be some really tough practices for them throughout this week to get them back on track. But they've got the number 1 college player in the country, in Brandon Miller. He had an off shooting night. The pieces around him are really good. The style with which they play are really good. They're the best offensive team in the SEC. That, in my mind, was an aberration. But credit to Porter Moser, who can just coach the lights out of a building.
They absolutely can. You had on ESPN the Baylor-Arkansas game. Baylor fell behind by, I think, 8 points at one point, but came back and won that game by 3. Not too long ago, they were a national champion, and you can see why. I mean, they're kind of a under the radar team, I think. They're ranked 17th in the country. People may have forgotten about Baylor, but old Coach Drew can really draw them up, can he?
Man, can he ever? They started 0-3 in the Big 12, and that was a combination of factors. Number one, they played 3 top 16 teams and lost every game by about a possession, if not 2 possessions. So they were right there, but also they didn't have their entire roster. Now, they have a kid in Keontae George, who's one of their starting guards. They've got 3 fantastic guards. Keontae George is going to be a first-round pick. He was the number 1 shooting guard in the country coming out of high school in Texas. He was magnificent yesterday. He ended up with 24 points. They don't have a great interior presence, but their guards really drive them. If you wanted to have a bit of concern for Baylor, it's, well, can you win in the tournament? Can you win in March Madness when you're so perimeter oriented? And that's why they struggled a little bit yesterday. But still, as I said to start the conversation, don't doubt anybody in the Big 12.
Yeah, there's another Big 12 team, and that would be Kansas. And I know we got a lot of KU fans listening always, and they're scratching their heads a little bit, trying to figure out what happened. Although KU came right back, and we have an equal amount of Kentucky fans that listen to this show. They're everywhere, as we know. They win at 77-68 over UK. If you could analyze those two teams for us, Kansas and Kentucky, two giants of our business, one of them trying to figure it out, have been all year. That's UK. The other one, Kansas, trying to get back on track to where they know they should be.
All right, let's start with Kansas, and we'll do it quick because I don't want the Mizzou people changing the station. This is not a vintage Bill Self team in the sense that they don't have a true post presence. They're really talented on the perimeter. Wilson had 22 points yesterday. Grady Dick is one of the best freshman shooters in the country, and he's going to be a great scorer, and he's going to be one and done. But the national championship team that Self built was also kind of an aberration because it wasn't full of NBA stars, but he got a bunch of dudes who played really well. Azubuike was a great presence inside, and then they built into being national championship contenders. I don't know that I would think the same way of this Kansas team as last year, or even previous teams. But what they did really well yesterday is they took an undersized front court and they hung all over Oscar Tshiebwe, and they made him work. And Oscar's probably going to need an ice bath today. He finished with 18 and 9, below his average in rebounds. He can still be a monster for Kentucky inside, but Kentucky's had a hard time balancing the floor, finding shooters to spread out the floor on the offensive end to keep people from draping on Oscar, and finding rebounding help for the nation's best rebounders. So John Calipari found a lineup about 5 games ago that they went to that was wildly efficient. It had 2 shooters on the floor, a freshman point guard in Cason Wallace, who's an NBA talent, and the reigning National Player of the Year inside. They got away from that a little bit yesterday, or last night, I should say, and Kansas made Kentucky work really hard on the offensive end, and Kansas made the plays, and Kentucky made mistakes. Now, Kentucky will get right. I've got them Tuesday night on ESPN in an 8:00 game at Ole Miss. It's a struggling Ole Miss team. Kentucky's going to win that one by 12, and everybody in Big Blue Nation is going to say, depending on their perspective, they're going to say, hey, we're back, we're great again, or they're going to say, well, that means nothing, we're still terrible, I hate Cal, and fire him, because you can only have extremes with that fan base.
I 100% understand that. I follow a lot of those Kentucky fans and media, and they are really something. Tom Hart is with us. Just a final thing for you, sticking with the SEC and concentrating back on Missouri's situation. The SEC is interesting to me. I watched a little bit of a replay of Texas A&M this morning. They look really good to me. Auburn's right there at 6-2, right behind him. Tennessee obviously is a great basketball team, 4th in the nation. Florida's kind of hanging around in the middle of the pack, and then Missouri at 4. They get the win yesterday. They are kind of middle of the pack as well. Where do you see in our final minute here, Mizzou, in terms of an NCAA tournament resume, if you were to project them right now?
Well, real quick, I had a discussion with Scott Drew about this yesterday. He said, summarize the SEC for me. It's a defense-first league with great rim protectors, and there aren't a lot of great shooting teams in the league. Missouri is one of those teams. I put them up there with Alabama. But you've got to be able to win grinded-out games. And Missouri's schedule going forward is very favorable. LSU, Mississippi State, South Carolina, Mississippi State a second time, Ole Miss, LSU twice. They're going to pile up the wins. I think I don't have bracketology in front of me right now, but Missouri looks like a team that is an 8-9 seed. Mm-hmm. And I don't mind that as a Missouri fan. Like, I wouldn't want a second-round matchup with Purdue because we all know Purdue is elite. But the crop of number ones aren't infallible outside of, I think, Purdue. And I would have had Alabama in that conversation before yesterday. And so, as we said before, if you're an 8-9 seed in Missouri and you win that first game and you're hot in the second round, you can beat anybody. This is a jump shooting team that can beat anybody in the country, and they have enough weapons to do so on a good night. So, yeah, can they play up to a 6-7 seed? Sure. But I really don't see them struggling the rest of the way because the schedule's so favorable.
Dangerous team if they get in there for sure. Tom, you do a great job. Thank you very much for the visit. I appreciate it very much.
My pleasure, Tom. Have a great weekend.
Tom Hart with us on KMOX's Sports on a Sunday Morning. Some baseball next.
KMOX Enters Service Weekend, sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation.
When you hear Diamonds Direct, it's not just a catchy name designed to give the illusion of value. Our name is who we really are. Diamonds Direct was started by diamond cutters a quarter of a century ago. At our very core is a commitment to cut out the middleman and deliver extreme value in exquisite diamonds. Today, that's more true than ever, with our direct access to diamonds straight from the mines. Diamonds that we then cut and polish. Exquisite diamonds up to 15 and 20 carats in all shapes and sizes. It's an advantage other jewelers only dream of. By overseeing the entire process, we know for a fact Diamonds Direct is truly direct. So this year, as value becomes more important than ever, rest assured that Diamonds Direct's unique status in the world diamond market guarantees you the best no middleman direct importer price, period. And even with this extreme value promise, at Diamonds Direct you still get an unbeatable selection, transparent education, a luxurious shopping experience, superior customer service, no compromises. It's not having a cool name or clever advertising, it's the truth. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Is your bank, brokerage, or your insurance company telling you to buy an annuity? They may have limited access to the best rates available. You need solutions, not someone pitching you a specific product. Call for your complimentary retirement and income book at 844-513-SAFE. That's 844-513-7233. And also join me, Ben Coons, for the Retirement and Income Radio Show, heard here every Saturday at 3 p.m. on KMOX Radio.
After years of hearing the commercials on KMOX, I decided to finally make an appointment with Ophthalmology Associates. You know the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates, Dr. Greg Birdie, Dr. Ranjan Malhotra, Dr. Robert Busati, and Dr. Andy Royer. Well, I'd been hearing about dry eye, and I knew that I had dry eyes. Dr. Ranjan Malhotra told me that it's not just an irritating problem, it's actually irritating my eyes, and that it's so important to have dry eye addressed because it can actually scratch your cornea, cause greater damage, lead you to believe that your vision is getting worse. Turns out I don't need new glasses. I just need to address the dry eye situation. You should definitely check out Ophthalmology Associates. They are experts in the diagnosis and treatment of diseases of the eye. Call for an appointment today, 314-966-5000 or online at youridoc.com, 12990 Manchester Road, just a half mile west of 270 eastbound on Manchester. Ophthalmology Associates, youridoc.com.
I hate winter. But as a kid, I used to love it snowing. And my dog, when it snows, he's just like me being a little Hoosier. When it snows, we wake up and we would just run outside. We didn't care what we had on and just run around and build snowmen, roll around in the snow. He does the exact same thing. He can't build snowmen. He wants to do snow angels. But if you can picture this, he's a big German Shepherd, all right? He's good size. But he's got little legs and little arms. He doesn't know he's a dog, but he wants to make snow angels, so he tries his best. And he just ends up just rolling around in circles for the longest time. You got to love it. With that being said, keep the calls coming. One easy number, Missouri and Illinois. It is 314-293-2600. That's Bart Inman, 314-293-2600. And BartInman.com. That is a B for Bart. How do I say? Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com.
It's on Goddard. Big fly, Nolan Arenado.
Driving jam time. And the Philippines win this one.
Touchdown, Kansas City.
Welcome back to Sports on a Sunday morning on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
Sports on a Sunday morning on KMOX. I'm Tom Ackerman coming to you from the Stiefel Sports Studio. It's time to talk some baseball, and we turn things over to KMOX's Matt Pauley with a very special guest.
We are very happy right now to welcome on the general manager of the St. Louis Cardinals. That is Michael Girsch. Michael, thank you for taking some time with us. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I am good. What was your reaction? What was maybe the other reactions of people inside of the Cardinals offices when you found out that Scott Rowland was going to be a Hall of Famer?
Oh, I think it was. It's exciting. It's always exciting when someone who's spent some time here gets honored like that. And I know Mo in particular. You know, I was around when Scott was here, but I was not hanging around the big league clubhouse at that time very much. I was more doing amateur scouting stuff, so I don't have a long relationship with Scott, though I've met him a few times. But I know Mo's. Considers him a friend, and I know Mo's very excited about it. So it's a great honor for him. It seemed like it was going to happen one of these years, just wasn't obvious it was going to happen this year. But nice recognition of a great career.
Would you like to see Hall of Fame voters value defense at third base maybe a little bit more than they do?
Look, I gotta be honest with you. Like I'm not in the weeds on Hall of Fame voting and how they over the years, how they've transitioned from, like round numbers, right? Mm-hmm. Round numbers of wins, home runs, RBIs seem like drove Hall of Fame voting for a long time to now being a little bit more maybe data savvy. But I think third base is a weird position. It's not seen as one of the like elite defensive positions up the middle of the field, but some guys are incredible defenders at third base and add a ton of value. We have one now in Nolan, and when Scott was here for many years, he was the same way. And I think sometimes it's looked at as more of an offensive position, but the guys who are great defensive third basemen, it's making a huge difference in your team. And it's possible that that's undervalued by the Hall of Famers for sure.
What is this period like for you guys where you've kind of done the heavy lifting of the offseason, but I know at the same time, you never close the door to making the team better?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a transition period where we sort of are starting to transition from the offseason into spring training, into the beginning of the amateur scouting season, into just beginning the player development process and those seasons. To your point, we're always looking. We're still talking to teams from every now and then. There's still guys on waivers and other opportunities, and obviously there's still a few free agents still out there. So it's different than sort of early in the offseason where you're really trying to stay in touch with all 29 teams and tons of free agents and tons of agents and have lots of balls in the air. Now it's a little bit more sparse in the conversations and a few that might spark something that have a chance to come to fruition, and a lot that sort of don't really go anywhere. But as a front office, we sort of a lot of our time is now starting to prepare for the 2023 season and less about the off-season acquisition process.
Specifically to the amateur side of things, has that turned into a 12-month-a-year thing?
It's pretty close. We do some sort of January, like sort of prep meetings here in town this week. And, I had some conversations with guys where we talked about, like, if you're a high school player in Florida or Arizona or Southern California, they're already playing high school baseball, or at least maybe not official season games, but they're having all-season scrimmages and practices. And so our scouts are already out, sort of laying the groundwork on that. And certainly the draft is in July now, a month later than it used to be, which sort of stretches out this process. And then as soon as this process happens in July, we immediately start scouting the summer leagues and the Cape Cod League. And so it's probably not 12 months, but it's probably like, 9 or 10 before it kind of gets quiet for November and December.
Do you enjoy the challenge? In other sports, there's not a linear path, but there's a more kind of concrete kind of way to get to the highest levels of the sport. In baseball, there's so many different pathways that guys can take coming straight out of high school, going junior college, going to a 4-year, going junior college to like there's a million different ways, and you find guys at different stages of their development. Is that fun for you and your staff?
Yeah, I think that's part of the challenge, right? I think what scouts look, every scout hopes to have a first round pick, go to the high school next, down the street, because it means that they'll know the guy well, they can scout him easily and all that. But again, when we had these meetings this week, one of our scouts talked about scouting Mount Olive College and finding Cody Whitley, who had Tommy John surgery, the year before, missed a year, had only come back and made 3 appearances that year. He happened to be at one of them. To be at a college game in Mount Olive and see a kid throwing 95 that you didn't even know existed before you walked into this park that day, that's what they live for, right? It's finding guys and uncovering the sort of hidden gems. And I think organizationally, we've kind of made a living off of, rounds, 5 through 15 or whatever, with guys like Carpenter and Tommy Edman and Donovan and Lars Nootbaar. And that's, I think, what, in some ways is almost more fun than going to see the number 1 player in the country who's been a superstar at some SEC school for 3 years and everyone knows who he is. And it's sort of it's not as much of you don't get the butterflies and excitement of having discovered someone who can make a difference.
Cardinals general manager Michael Girsch continuing to chat with us. I think a lot of people hear your title. They know Mo's title as president of baseball operations, but I also think there's maybe some confusion in what it looks like in your guys' working relationship. Can you kind of describe that for our listeners a little bit of how you and Mo work together?
Yeah, I think, I mean, look, everyone knows Mo's the main guy. He's the head of baseball operations. He has been for, I don't know, 15 seasons now, maybe 16 seasons. And I've been, starting in 2011, I got promoted to assistant GM and was sort of Mo's right-hand man. And that's sort of been my role for the last decade. And in some cases we split things up and like separate our sort of work responsibilities. In most cases, we are very much working together on things. So there are cases where there are certain agents I have relationships with, and there's many agents, especially the guys who've been around for a while, that Mo has had long-term relationships with. And so when we want to approach a free agent or approach a player about an extension, we'll sort of decide who makes more sense to start that process. There's certain teams that Mo has, someone like the Yankees with Cashman. Mo and Cashman have both been in charge of their respective organizations for 15 years or 20 years. So when we talk Yankees, sometimes Mo just picks up the phone and calls Cash. And there's other teams where I have relationships with guys who are newer in the role, and so I follow up with those and start the trade talks in those cases. And then within our sort of internal operations, my background is on the analytics side, so I sort of am much more involved in our baseball development analytics group. Mo's background is more on the has been around longer with the player development side, so he works a little bit more closely with Gary LaRocque. But it's not like it's much more of we work as a team on things, and not so much that we have clear silos that this is my part of the organization and this is Mo's part. I mean, the whole thing is Mo's part, and I jump in where it makes sense to make an impact and try to keep moving us forward.
There were parts of this offseason that were just wild, whether it was the money that was being thrown around, the years that were being thrown around. Do you guys ever just kind of look at each other and look at some of these deals and just go, in almost shock of maybe the direction that the industry is going, if that makes sense?
I don't think shock. I think anytime you come out of a new CBA, a lot of people feel more comfortable making bigger commitments because they know that there's some certainty for the next 5 years about relative peace in the industry. And I think there are times there are moves that sort of I don't want to say confused, but there are moves that are more surprising than others, right? Like there are moves where when Aaron Judge signs for a lot of money with the New York Yankees, it doesn't exactly make your head spin, right? Mm-hmm. But there's other moves where you're like, well, that's not what I was expecting, or that's not the team I expected, or that's not the contract that we would have guessed, and that's just part of 30 teams competing and trying to figure out how to best allocate their resources to improve their teams.
I'll finish you off with this. Like my take on the Cardinals is there's a lot of question marks because there's not a lot of guys outside of Goldschmidt, Arenado, Edman, and Contreras that have year-over-year track records. Like Tyler O'Neill had a really good year. Lars Nootbaar had a really good half season last year, but these guys have these multi-year track records. But there's also a lot of optimism about so many guys, whether it is O'Neill or Nootbaar or Carlson or Gorman, like so many guys. I'm excited to see if these guys are going to kind of take that step forward and become those consistent big leaguers. This is a long question, but do you get excited about that? Like, are you really excited to see some of these guys that don't have those track records, if they are able to take that next step?
100%. I mean, I think in some ways this is like the ideal spring training for us in that we have a whole bunch of young, exciting, kind of up and coming type players, and it's also a WBC year. So, when you talk about we have a kind of a smaller group of veteran players, like they can't get much better than Goldie and Arenado, right? Like if you're gonna have a small group of guys, like 2 MVP guys is a great place to start. But those guys and Wainwright and Michaelis and a bunch of other players are going to be gone to WBC for some period of time in March, and so there's going to be a lot of at bats to see what Alec Burleson or Jordan Walker, and there's going to be a lot of innings for guys like Liberatore and Connor Thomas and Graceffo and McGreevy. There's a lot of players that we're excited to sort of see what 2023 brings for them. And not only is that true just in general, but it's true that in this spring training, they're set up to have opportunities, right? And we know that not all of them are going to hit in spring training, and you shouldn't overanalyze, 25 at bats or 12 innings in spring training anyway. But just the idea that we got a lot of exciting players who are going to get opportunities to sort of see where they stand is fun and exciting. It makes it this season has the potential to have a bunch of new faces that sort of break out into sort of that tier that you said, that tier that kind of repeats it for more than a year and that everyone sort of has confidence we can build around.
He is Michael Girsch. He is the general manager of the St. Louis Cardinals joining us. Michael, thank you so much for your time.
No problem. Enjoyed it.
Thank you both. And when we come back, we'll talk hockey, the Blues breakdown, and the Blues are breaking down a little bit. We'll hear from Craig Berube, Jordan Bennington, Torrey Krug, and Ivan Barbashev next on KMOX's Sports on a Sunday Morning.
I'm Brian Westbrook with Coalition Life. Over the past decade, Coalition Life has served thousands of women in crisis pregnancies, helping to save the lives of the children that they carry. Help us build a better community while also reducing or completely eliminating your Missouri taxes with a 70% tax credit. A $1,000 donation today to help these women could cost you as little as $141 out of pocket. Learn more at coalitionlife.com, coalitionlife.com. Thank you.
Happy New Year from our friend at Zero Res 2023. Time to get your home Zero Resified with all the services at 23% off. You must book in January. Call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com for 23% off all of our services.
Track your blood donations right from the palm of your hand and stay updated on special promotions. Download the American Red Cross Blood Donor app today. To learn more, go to redcross.org.
Over 30 years ago, it was that can-do spirit which helped the founder of Reinhold Flooring start the business, installing Reinhold quality carpet and beautiful flooring himself. Now, Reinhold Flooring is still family-owned and operated and winning St. Louis Magazine's Best Flooring Store 2 years in a row. With Reinhold Flooring, it's not about the sale, it's about the amazing floor to perfectly match your house and your life. Customer-driven since day one. Visit ReinholdFlooring.com. With so many ideas you can do it with a can-do crew at Reinhold Flooring. ReinholdFlooring.com.
It's on Goddard. Big fly. Nolan Arenado.
Driving jam time. The Pelicans win this one. Touchdown, Kansas City. Welcome back to Sports on a Sunday Morning on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
Welcome back. Sports on a Sunday Morning on KMOX. I'm Tom Ackerman from the Stiefel Sports Studio. It's time for our Blues breakdown as we go into the Blues dressing room and hear from the coach and three players after yesterday's 4-2 loss to the Colorado Avalanche. The Blues have lost 4 in a row. They're 5 points out of 10th place in the Western Conference as they fall to the Stanley Cup champions, courtesy of Blue Note Productions and Post-Dispatch beat writer Jim Thomas asking the questions. Here's Coach Craig Berube.
2 games, a real slow start and a good finish. How do you?
Yeah, coming into this rink, it's always, a first tough period. They start fast and they make you turn and go back for pucks a lot. And I thought we were actually okay. We lost the puck battle on the one goal on the wall, and the second goal we got the puck out, but they punched it back, and we got to do a better job of defending that rush. We can't give up. Our D's got to pull inside the dots on that play because we lost our 3 forwards. And they were down 2-0, so it kind of set us back a bit. But I thought the guys were ready to play, the first period, and handle things because they're going to come hard, right? The positive of the game is we had a real good third period. We really pushed hard, and that's the competitiveness we need to see all game.
How do you bring that out from the opening puck?
That's up to each guy. That's his job. To prepare to compete and skate and work and do all the little things and be aggressive, be on your toes and play. Don't play tentative.
Did Bennington getting in that scrum, did that spark the guys at all?
I'm sure it did. And, he played a great game and he's emotionally involved in the game, Bennington. That's what, sometimes that's why that stuff happens.
Yeah. And I know maybe sometimes he doesn't use it in the right way, but you need guys with fire, don't you?
100%. Yeah.
Now, near the end of the game, you had looked like a lot of, well, you just missed by a few inches from time.
Good chances. Didn't finish it off. Jordan had a real nice look there with the goalie out and made a good save. I mean, that's the way it goes. You gotta make your own luck and you gotta work, and we gotta move on from this game and prepare for Winnipeg.
Can you take something out of that?
Well, you should. You should take the third period and bottle it up and, know each individual, realize what it takes.
It's not easy to play that way, but a lot of these guys have played that way for a long time, right? I mean, they know how to do it, right?
We have to play that way. Thanks.
On that scrum that he was involved in, here's Blues goaltender Jordan Bennington.
Why'd you go back there and join the scrum? What did you see?
I just felt like the game could use some energy, and I just try to do everything I can to to win. It's tough. It's been a tough stretch, and just trying to find a way, like we said over and over again. And positive is we had a good last 25, 30 minutes, I would say, and we had character. We played hard, and we were playing together and backing each other up. So that's positive, and hopefully we can bring that moving forward.
Is it maddening, just like 4 games in a row, just these very, very slow starts?
Yeah, I think it's just, big picture. It's frustrating. These are games at a critical time in our season, and we want to win, and we know we need the points. So, we just got to keep finding a way and just fighting every night, and because we're not going to go quietly, no way. So, just got to keep one day at a time, one game at a time, one period at a time. Just good focus and yeah.
Why did you think there was more energy or more life at the start of the game?
I don't know. At the start of the game, you mean?
Just as you have a very slow start by the team. It just didn't seem like there's much energy, much life.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it was terrible. They come out hard here at home. We know that. We've been here a lot of times, and we just gotta focus, like I said, one period at a time, one shift at a time, and just simplify it, and let things snowball, and yeah.
They don't like you here, but you don't seem to mind.
No, I love it. That was a fun atmosphere, and that was loud. 18,000 people hating on you. I don't mind that.
When you were giving this gesture, we're just saying, "Hey, bring it on."
Yeah, kind of. Let's go. We're in it. We're fighting. We're not giving up, and that's the mentality.
Did O'Connor do anything egregious that made you want to get into that scrum?
He's a little aggressive around the net, but nothing in particular. It happens. It's hockey, and they play hard, so that happens sometimes, and you handle it how you want to handle it.
I asked Barbie this: is there anything you can take out of that third period? I mean, there were like 2 or 3 or 4 shots where you guys are just inches from tying the game.
Yeah, we were close. We almost tied it up a couple times, and we were in the game, and that's important. And if that's how we're going to lose, by playing hard and just doing the right things, and it doesn't go our way, then that's so be it. But we have to do everything in our power to find a way to win, and hopefully bring this with us going into the last game before the bye week, and just put it all out there, and then regroup.
We're the defending Cup champs. So other than the empty net goal, all 3 of your games from this year, 3-2. You win one, you lose in overtime. Does that show you that you guys can play with anybody in the league?
Yeah, I mean, I believe we can beat any team on any given night, and I truly believe that. So it's upsetting right now with how it's gone, but it's part of it. I think it's just it happens, and you just gotta keep your head up and keep working, and hopefully over time things come around.
Thanks.
Blues defenseman Torrey Krug.
Torrey's like 2 different games out there. The first half of the game, you guys looked kind of lifeless. Second half, you took it to them. I mean, how do you explain the start and then the finish?
Yeah, I mean, they dictated the play in the first. They're a team that starts fast, especially in their building, and we understood it. Unfortunately, we didn't. It was too little too late, and we came out in the third and played the right way, and I think we just competed harder. That was all. Nothing to it besides working harder and being willing to get into battles and just showing up.
Why has it been so hard to, and again, I know they're tough in this building, why has it been hard these last 4 games to start kind of the way you finished?
I don't know. If we had that answer, we'd change things, but just about looking, showing up on time and having pride, playing in this league, it's a gift, and it's tough to do. So you have to show up right when the puck drops, otherwise you'll get exposed, and that's what's happened the last few games. So we got to show up with the right mentality, and don't wait, before you're behind a couple goals to show it.
Yeah, and I know you got a lot of injuries, but you guys take a lot of talent and a lot of experience on the ice every night.
Yeah, I mean, we at times we show that we're still capable of winning games and still capable of beating good hockey teams. It's been few and far between lately, but we have the ability. So it's just about showing up with the right mentality and doing the work and not making any excuses. Do it right from the get-go and don't wait until the third period.
Your scuffle with Nieto, I believe it was. Just what was behind that, and it looked like he just didn't want to fight.
Yeah, nothing. It's whatever. Just didn't like how I was bumped into, and nothing crazy. So it's nothing.
You went back to the tunnel for a bit. Were you okay? Did you just need to get checked out?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Thank you. Yep.
The Blues indeed are banged up and dealing with some injuries. Here is Blues forward Ivan Barbashev. Again, this is the Post-Dispatch's Jim Thomas asking the questions.
Barbie, such a slow start for you guys, but you guys really put on the pressure late. You had several chances to tie that one up.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, slow start again. We go down 3-0, and then we get a couple. But the third period showed that we can play like this. It just has to be every single shift. We got to play hard, and because we took the game over in the third, and it was fun to play.
The team looked almost lifeless the first half of the game. And how do you explain that? I mean, it's about 4 games in a row. It's taking you forever to get going.
Yeah, I don't know. We get down, and it seems. Yeah, I mean, you're right. There's just kind of no life. So this is something we got to do better as a team. Just to have a life on the bench, and especially just after going down 1-0, just got to be better. The next shift matters. That's what we got to focus on.
Did that scrum when Jordan got into the scrum? Did that fire you guys up a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it did. He's that kind of a guy, so he's trying to get a life for a team. So he was really good today.
Can you take us through your goal, how you stole the puck and then skating in?
I don't know. It just started from the defensive zone, so I kind of saw a chance to poke it from the guy because I feel like I had a reach on him, and just glad I got a breakaway from it.
Can you take anything out of this game? Obviously, you're going into another tough building in Winnipeg.
Yeah, we're going to play against Winnipeg. They've been really good this season. Our third period showed how we can play, and that's what we have to do in Winnipeg. So play the same way, hard, physical, get to the net, and if we're gonna do this, we're gonna win the game.
Is it hard to keep the trade deadline out of the back of your head?
I don't care, to be honest.
You don't care. You just don't think about it.
I'm not thinking about it right now. So, we're in a spot where we've been losing, so I don't want to put that on my head as well.
Thank you.
Thanks to Blue Note Productions and Jim Thomas of the Post-Dispatch. And right there, that last question about the trade deadline. It is March 3rd, so we're coming up on a month away. And the Blues, as it stands right now, look like sellers as they are 5 points out of 10th place in the Western Conference. They sit in 11th still with 49 points. They've lost 4 in a row. They visit Winnipeg tomorrow night. Thanks for joining us. Sports on a Sunday morning on KMOX. Enjoy the football this afternoon. College basketball rolling this week. Don't miss your chance. You should go Friday night to see SLU play VCU at Chaffetz Arena. That is going to be some crowd. We appreciate producer Drew Young, and we say so long from the Stiefel Sports Studio.
Hi, it's Scott and Andrea from Best Buy Flooring.
Scott, I'm making a New Year's resolution list, and number 1 on my list is new flooring.
That's perfect because we offer free financing for qualified purchasers in 2023.
Yes, and after holiday parties, everyone needs new flooring.
With carpet, luxury vinyl, ceramic,